Yeah, I just want to I was talking to myself and I was like, let me just turn on a video and just start preaching out here. And let me just start speaking on what I'm speaking about. So I'm becoming more spiritual, in my relationship with God and developing that relationship. And I think a lot about the difference between like religion and spirituality. I'm not a huge fan of religion myself. I generally don't really care too much for it. I think I've always felt like as a child, as a child, I've always felt like religion was this man-made thing. It was a man-made. I knew that as a child, but see, I didn't have the right discernment as a child to understand the difference between religion and spirituality. So I casted out everything, right? Because I didn't have the discernment when I was a child. As I've gotten older now, and I had to go through the period of just being completely lost, not really understanding where I was going, thinking that I knew better. I was leaning on my own understanding, right? But over the last months or so, I've been really developing a relationship with God again. And for those of you who are not super spiritual yet, I don't even say super, but those of you who don't really understand what God actually is. So in more worldly terms, to kind of maybe bring some people into what I'm trying to say. In more worldly terms, God is just your consciousness, right? God is just that inner voice in your head that's telling you the difference between right and wrong, between moral and immoral. We all have that, right? So we all know what God is. A lot of people just don't call it God. But that's what God is in spirituality. It's just that inner consciousness, right? Then you have Jesus, which represents faith. That's all Jesus is. Jesus represents faith. In every story that you hear with Jesus in the Bible, he resembles faith in God. That's why he's the Son of God, right? Because faith has to come from your consciousness. Because if you don't have faith in your consciousness, you'll never understand what God really is, right? That's why you don't worship Jesus. You follow Jesus. You follow faith and worship God. Because at the end of the day, God is all that matters. Your consciousness is all that matters. Once your consciousness goes, nothing else matters. Once God leaves, nothing else matters. That's why you have to have faith in your consciousness, faith in God. You follow Jesus, right? Understanding faith and understanding what your consciousness is, what God is, right? That will lead you down that path of righteousness, right? God ultimately is strength, right? Protection and provision, right? That's why God is called the Father. The Father in all family life is to protect and provide. Like that's his two main roles as the Father, right? That's strength. Jesus teaches you faith. And the third, which is why it's the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, the Holy Spirit gives you wisdom. See, what I didn't have as a kid was that Holy Spirit of discernment, right? That's what wisdom is. Wisdom is that combination of knowledge and experience. I didn't have the experience as a kid. I had the knowledge. I'll tell you one thing. I had a lot of intuitive knowledge as a kid. I didn't have the experience yet to be able to discern. I didn't really have the wisdom. I had knowledge. Some people confuse knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is just information accumulation, right? But wisdom is that combination of the experience that allows discernment, right? So the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit is strength, faith, and wisdom. These three things will set you on a path of righteousness. It'll allow you to discern better. It'll allow you to eliminate distractions, right? I think we all know when we listen to that inner conscious, right? When we listen to God, generally more often than not, 10 out of 10, we're going to be in a better situation. 10 out of 10, not even 9 out of 10. Because again, if God is conscious, if God is the end all be all, 10 out of 10. When you listen, see, it's like, it's like at a factory, right? If somebody's main job was to put a bottle cap on bottles, right? That's their main job. That's their only job. That's all they're designed to do. They're going to be the absolute best at it. You can have full faith in that person that they're going to cap some bottles because that's their only job that they got. And to that point, it's a pretty easy job, right? I mean, you might have some struggles. You might have like, I don't know, maybe some bottle caps might not fit properly on some bottles and whatnot. But for the most part, that's all they're there to do, right? God's only job, your consciousness's only job, is to provide and protect for you. That's it. That's why when you start to fully understand God, you can have faith that that's what God is supposed to do. That's what your conscience is supposed to do. And you start to lean on that because you understand God's only objective is to provide and protect for you. There's no other ulterior motive for God. Your consciousness in your head, and again, for those who are more worldly still, your consciousness has no other job other than to show you the right path to follow, the right path to go down, right? I mean, think about it. Every time you made a wrong decision or hung out with the wrong people, you ignored that intuition in your head. That voice in your head was telling you, don't follow them, don't go there, don't do that, but you did it anyways because you were leaning on yourself. Your consciousness cannot do anything else other than show you how to protect yourself. That's it. That's what God is, right? And the reason why you need the wisdom, though, is to fully understand that. See, wisdom. That's why I said in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth, right? And the world without void, it was dark, right? And then the face of the Spirit was hovering over the waters, right? That told me, when I was starting to get into that, told me that the waters was important. And I've come to understand the water is the Spirit of God. That's what water represents. The Spirit of God. That's why they say the Spirit flows like a river, right? Wisdom flows like the Spirit. That's why you can be overflowing with wisdom, overflowing with the Spirit, which is why I'm at a point now where like I can feel my spirit start to overflow with wisdom, which is why I can't contain it. It's like a dam that can't contain all the water. It's starting to break through, which is why people start preaching. Like, I'm starting to understand that. I'm preaching now and like giving this wisdom because it's literally overflowing through me. The wisdom within me is overflowing, which is why I have to share it. I have to share it, right? I thought about a while from making a video, and at this point, I just made this video just because it just overflowed. Like, I can't contain it in anymore, right? So I'll give this last analogy here. So to make all three, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, for it to make sense in a picturesque, illustrative way, right? It's like if you're turning on a faucet, and it's as if your hand is the hand of God, right? When you don't fully understand God and you don't have the strength of God within you, turning on that faucet is going to be very hard because you've never done it before. It's like it's full of rust because you've never put in the practice of turning that faucet, right? So it's going to be very difficult. But if you have faith that if I just keep strengthening myself, if I keep understanding God, if I have Jesus, if I follow Jesus and have faith, right? Because Jesus is going to tell you, just keep turning. Just have faith. Just keep turning. Jesus, faith is going to tell you to keep going. And as you keep turning on that keep turning that faucet, the strength of God is going to get stronger and stronger within you. And then to keep turning more. And as you're turning, wisdom is going to start seeking through that faucet. That water is going to start coming out. The Holy Spirit is going to start coming out to the point where you're really turning that thing because God within you is getting stronger. Again, God is strength. God's provision. He's trying to provide you with the Holy Spirit, right? He's going to protect you with the overflowing of the Spirit, right? When you're being completely overflowed with the Spirit, nothing demonic can come in because the Spirit is already coming out of you. The Spirit is coming out of you so much, the demons can't come in. That's why you're overflowing with the Spirit. It's a protective source as well. Like we all know water, it's calming and soothing, but it can drown some stuff. The water can completely, we've seen tsunamis. Water can completely be destructive and over consuming, like overwhelming, right? So God, the strength of God, as it strengthens within you, you can start to turn that faucet more and more and more. And that was activated because of your faith that if I just keep trusting in God, the overflowing of the Spirit is going to come out of me, right? A lot of us haven't really understood how to turn on that faucet yet because we haven't started with the faith of God. So we just feel that we're weak. We don't realize that we are stronger with God than without. Without God, we're never going to turn that faucet. With God, we have the strength to do so, and then we'll be overflowed with the Spirit of God, right? So yeah, I just want to give you all that real quickly, a quick little 10 minutes. 10 minutes can go by fast when you're really preaching. I feel like I started talking a couple minutes ago. It's been 10 minutes. But that's what happens when you're overflowing, you know. So I wanted to give that to y'all. So yeah, I'll be probably back with more insights. But I hope this means something to y'all. I'll just keep preaching the more things keep coming to me. So till next time.